First policy that we're going to go through right now is we're going to be limiting classroom sizes to 10 children for every class. So we're no longer going to have a large group kids church or worship service anymore. When students or children come to children's ministry, they're going to go directly to their class after they check in. And this is a few things. First of all, obviously it helps with social distancing with the children where we're not having 50 to 60 kids all in the same room. The other thing that it helps with classroom management. And also during this season, I feel like that it's important for us to minister to the children specifically and know their name, know their likes, their hobbies, how they're going specifically for each child, and have a little bit more intimate prayer time and intimate conversations with these children. So how are we going to accomplish this every week? We're going to assign children to a classroom so they will not be switching classes with each other, but these children will be your class, and that class is going to stay the same throughout the next year or throughout how many months. And we want to try to keep it the same. And so they're not mixing up with other groups and the parents don't get confused. The parents can go directly to the same class every week and pick them up from that same class every week. And so I think that's important for us to build consistency with that. And also with the 2 adults per classroom, it's going to help with keeping the classes small so that 2 adults won't be overwhelmed. I'm going to get into that a little bit deeper in another segment. But yeah, so limiting the classroom to 10 helps with the social distancing and also helps with being consistent and being able to minister to these children specifically. With this, there is a little flex with the number in the classroom. So I say we're going to try to limit to 10, but it can go up to about 14 per class. Especially if you have a junior leader inside the class with the 2 adults, then you can handle about 14 students, no problem there. And this is to kind of give some breathing room in case a new family comes, or in case all your students come one week, even though they don't normally all come, so kind of gives a little bit of breathing room from just making sure that we're strict on that. I really don't want to go above 14 students because then it defeats the purpose of separating into different classes. This next one is going to be a non-negotiable for children's ministry moving forward. We're going to always have 2 adults in every classroom at all times. There should not be 1 adult in the classroom by themselves. Now, this includes junior leaders do not count as an adult. So if they are a minor, they do not count as an adult team member. It's important to remember that. So 2 adults in each classroom moving forward. So what does that look like practically? Now, with this being said, it's important that we are in communication with our leaders. So if you know you're not going to make it to church this Sunday because you work or there's a valid excuse, then let your team leader know as soon as possible. And that will give your team leader time to find a replacement, or even if you could help out with your team leader and find a replacement for yourself for that class. Because what happens if you can't make it to church on Sunday, or if you don't show up, there's a possibility that your class will be closed because we need 2 adults per class now. We need 2 adults per class. And so when you don't communicate or you communicate late, then that becomes a big problem for children's ministry. That becomes a big problem for our leadership, and it stresses the other team member out that's in the classroom with you, and also your leader out as well. And so please, as much as possible, communicate to your team leader when you can't make it. Now, even if you're going to be late, it's important that you communicate that as well, because how is the check-in part going to work? So when families come through and they're getting ready to come into your class, if there are not 2 adult team members in the class, we're not going to allow the children to come in yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the parents line up outside of the classroom and wait until the adult team member can come, and we meet the 2 adults per that class. So what does that mean? If a team member does not show up, you're going to have parents waiting outside of these classes, and if they don't show up, then I will have to go to these parents and try to explain to them the situation where we need 2 adults in this classroom. And so that's important to serve our families, to serve our children, and to serve the Lord and make it a better place, a better team dynamic within our leadership and our team. So that's one of the things that happens when we have 2 adults per classroom. And so ideally, I would actually love to have 4 adults assigned to each class. And so what does this do? This makes it able for your class to rotate teachers out. And if someone gets sick or there's a valid excuse, then someone can come right in and just fill in for that week, or when even if they're not assigned, they can just fill in for that week. So ideally, we're looking for 3 or 4 teachers, leaders, team members to be assigned to a classroom to these students. And I believe our children will benefit from this consistency of teachers, consistency of teaching, consistency even with the parents are going to benefit from this policy change of 2 adults per classroom. All right, this next policy is not a new policy for us, but I want to get very strict on it, and it concerns our bathrooms. Now, if there's any place that an incident can occur to affect our children, would be in the bathroom. And so I want to keep our volunteers and team members protected, also our children protected. So that 2 adult per classroom also can be applied to the bathroom, or will be applied to the bathroom, where you will never have a single adult in the bathroom at any time. And again, junior leaders do not count as adults. They are minors. And so it's important to know that 2 adults per the bathroom. Now, with the bathroom, I don't even go into the bathroom. If I have to take a group of students or a single student to the bathroom, I won't go into the bathroom. I will allow them to use the bathroom, and I'll just wait outside. If I have to yell from the door, even though it's awkward and they're playing inside or whatever, then I'll do that. If I have to enter the bathroom, I will now have to take another adult with me into the bathroom. And so there'll always be 2 adults in the bathroom. So with this, I'm talking with the check-in and security team. They can maybe help with this ratio to have somebody around to help with the bathroom times, especially if you have the onesies that it's a one-off, that it's not the whole class, but it's just one person, one child that needs to go to the bathroom. But with that being said, so if the child needs help in the bathroom or you need to go into the bathroom, both adults need to be there present. And that's to help cover for liability for the adults, but also cover liability for the child, making sure that we protect our children. So I'm going to get really strict on this. So if I find out that a team member is in the bathroom with a group of students, or one-on-one, even worse, in the bathroom by themselves with a student, I am going to put them on a mandatory probation, or even they cannot serve. This is a non-negotiable policy that I want to make sure that I'm going to keep every team member accountable for this, because I want to make sure that we protect all of our students and all of our team members and volunteers. Now, I praise God that we never had an incident in this manner, but I always want to be on the lookout and on guard to make sure that we protect our children and our smallest ones. So keep that in mind with the 2 adult rules for the classroom. I'm also applying that to bathroom policies as well moving forward. All right, for this next section, we're going to be talking about the policies between our interaction between team members and our team leaders. And it's so important, especially with the new policy of 2 adults per classroom, that we are in constant communication with our team leaders. And so I'm going to go through how we're going to communicate with our team leaders and team members, and also some consequences if we cannot comply with these communication policies. The first thing is, are you on Slack? If you have no idea what Slack is, talk to your team leader, and they'll talk to me, or talk to me, shoot me a text. We'll get you on Slack. So Slack is a third-party texting app that allows people to text between Apple and Android and Google Pixel and all these different devices. We're able to text each other and be able to text seamlessly. I don't know about you, if you've ever been in a group text before, and the leader of the group texts everybody, and then that text get lost in the internet world out there, and like 3 days later you finally get the text, but it's too late already for you to respond. Well, Slack is our church communication system that we use throughout the whole church leadership to communicate with one another, and that is very vital as a communication piece, because I'll be giving updates on Slack. Your team leader should be getting updates on Slack. But once you're on there, then it's super easy to communicate with one another. So that's the first thing that we got to do to communicate with one another. Now, for your scheduled time. Now, if you're scheduled on Sunday and you do a no call, no show. So that means you don't call and let your leader know that you're not coming, and then you don't show up on Sunday morning. If you do this, that is an immediate probation period. So I will be calling you up that week, not your leader. Pastor Trenton will call you up if you did a no call and no show. And I'll ask, hey, is everything okay? Now there are exceptions. Sometimes, you have a family emergency. You weren't thinking about your Sunday school class. You're just thinking about getting to the hospital to see your loved one or something like that. I understand those type of extenuous situations, but for the most part, we should always be in contact with our leader. The next thing, if you're going to be late on a Sunday morning, say you wake up late, you wake up at 7:15 and you have to be at your class by 7:40 and you're coming late, let your leader know. This is super important, because if you don't let your leader know that you're coming late, they're going to be scrambling, they're going to be texting you, and they're going to be wondering where you are, and then the families will be waiting outside of your classroom, and it'll be kind of a mess. But if we know you're coming and we trust that you're going to be there before service starts, then we can tell them, hey, your teacher's on their way, they're coming, and we can kind of just keep them pacified until both adult leaders are there. So if you're coming late, let us know. Okay, so if you know you can't come on a Sunday because you're working or other valid reason, then let your leader know as soon as possible. Latest, please let your leader know by Saturday noontime. But if you already know that next week Sunday that you're going to be missing Sunday school class and you're scheduled, let your leader know as soon as that work schedule comes out. Get into that habit, and all it takes is a text, or when you're on Slack, it just takes a little note on Slack, and that will help us out tremendously. Now, if you go one step beyond and you can find a replacement for yourself for that class, that would be amazing. Your leader would love you indefinitely if you can do that for that Sunday. So please do that. If you know you're not going to be there, let us know as soon as possible on Slack or text. Now, sick policy. If you are sick, please don't come to church. And so if you know you're sick, because sometimes, most of the time by Saturday night, I know I'm not going to be able to come on Sunday morning. And so I will be texting Pastor Cole as soon as I feel like I'm not going to be able to make it to church, or I'm not going to be able to make it to work. And I'll let Pastor Cole know as soon as possible. So please, if you're sick, say you're sick and you're sick with the flu all week, let your leader know as soon as you're able to text, or tell your spouse or your family member to text your leader to just let us know as soon as possible. Because why? We want to first pray for you and make sure that you are on your way to recovery, and make sure that we're helping you in any way we can. And secondly, that helps us out too, to make sure that we have coverage for our children's ministry. So if you're sick, please don't come, and let us know as soon as possible. So with your leader, please just be in communication with them. If you're having a hard time financially, emotionally, or spiritually, let your leader know so we can pray for you. Let me know. Email me, text me, catch me in the hallway, whatever it takes. Let us know if you're struggling and you need help. We want to be in communication. It's just not about dispersing information, but we want to extend our heart and the message from God's heart to all of our team members, and then to our children. So please always be in communication with our leaders and myself, and so that we can work together in unity.